So you think your child may be a victim of bullying. Well, you would not be alone if that was actually the case. The American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry recently reported that 50%, that's half of all children of school age, get bullied at some point during their schooling. And they also reported that anywhere from 10 to 30% are victims of repeated bullying. So because of these numbers, I actually ask every kid who comes into my office as part of the general interview whether or not they've been victims of bullying before. And the reason this is so important is that bullying causes not only short-term problems, but it could cause long-term problems. Short-term, there's studies that show your kids could have academic problems, somatic problems, headaches. Mom, my stomach hurts, I can't go to school today. Of course they don't want to go to school, they're getting bullied. You can have mood problems, mostly depression, but you can have anger and tantrums. You can have anxiety. And long-term and short-term, you have risk of interpersonal problems, professional problems, and worst of all, suicidality. The media, whether or not you've heard, actually has a new term called bullycide, which is a term they use for when somebody commits suicide when it seems directly associated with being bullied. And of course, I'm making this video right now in the shadow of one of the most recent cases of that young student from Rutgers who had a race crime committed against him and wound up committing suicide. So this is a very important issue. Bottom line, you need to talk to your kids because most kids are very ashamed and embarrassed and they're not going to talk about being bullied. So if they start to look like something's not the same, that's one of the first questions you want to ask. Is somebody bullying you? And what do you do about that? Well, the first thing you do is you want to teach that child how to deal with it. You ignore the bully, which is a lot harder than it sounds. And the kids will tell you that across the board, and I believe them. And so the work is coaching them and supporting them and encouraging them. And sometimes they do need to seek professional help for that. Second, you want to get the school involved because studies show that if there's a teacher around, there's a much less chance that a child will be bullied. Third of all, you need to address the bully themselves because most likely they're also victims of bullying. The fact is a lot of kids who bully have been bullied before. And the fact is they're bullying for a reason. They're not feeling good. And so the third thing you want to do is see how to address them. The fourth thing, you want to help your kid be around other kids. Believe it or not, bullying stops potentially within 10 seconds when there's another kid that intervenes and gets involved. So as bad as bullying is, there's a lot of answers to it. And there's a lot of ways to deal with it. So you definitely want to make sure that you have good communication with your child about that. And if there's any question about what's going on, you need to get the school involved, you want to get friends involved, and you want to give your kid as much support and encouragement as possible. And if it gets to the point where that's not working, sometimes professional help, such as a therapist, a psychiatrist, is not a bad thing to have involved because of especially the long-term potential effects.